My name is Sharifah Namusisi. I am a marriage counselor and life coach, and I'm a mother of 3. One day I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling through the pages, and all of a sudden there is ATTA breast milk community. At first I didn't understand what that was, a breast milk community. That caught my attention. So I read through it and I was amazed. I'm like, I didn't know we had anything like this in Uganda. I immediately took a screenshot, took her number, and I texted her immediately. And I'm like, hey, I would like to donate. She connects me to the first mother, and she doesn't come through. I hate rejection, so that really hurt. So I kept telling my husband, can you believe they didn't pick me to give this lady milk? I think she had triplets. So I got back to Tracy, and I'm like, the lady didn't call me, she had already connected us. And Tracy's like, oh no, Sharifah, don't take it the wrong way. I think she had a lot of people around her. She had a lot of family members, so somebody came through for her. But in case anybody comes up, I'll give you a call. I'm like, yes, I would love to do this. I would so badly love to do this. 2 weeks later, I get a call from her. Hey, Sharifah, are you still interested in donating? And I'm like, yes, please, I'm interested. I would love to donate. I have a history of people not wanting to take my blood because I had an operation some time back, and every time I go to donate, they're like, have you had an operation? I'm like, yeah, I had one in 2014. We can't take your blood. And I'm like, come on, it's been what, 8 years, 9 years? So I didn't want anybody to not take my breast milk. So Tracy connects me to the mom. We met at Nsambia Hospital. I was supposed to get some tests done. I hate needles, but I had to get this done. So we met, and I remember calling Tracy, telling her that this is the saddest thing I've ever seen or heard, that the mom wanted me to donate breast milk without me doing the tests. And I remember the nurses telling her that they cannot have that done, and she told them, I cannot afford her tests. When I spoke to Tracy about it, she's like, Sharifah, you need to understand that these moms are not ready. When this happens, they are not ready financially, emotionally. These are premature babies, so they are never ready. I can understand where the lady's coming from, but the nurses didn't want to hear it. They're like, no, she must test. So I remember we went there, she made a few calls, I think she managed to get the money, and we had the test done. Fast forward, she takes me to the nursery, hoping that we'll get a private place for me to pump and leave her with some milk before going home. I got into that nursery and my heart broke. Babies were crying. The recipient, the mother who was supposed to take the breast milk, I think she was one of the few mothers whose babies didn't have milk. And she was in tears. Her baby was screaming. The mother was desperate. I remember she talked to the lady in charge, the nurse in charge, and told her, can Sharifah donate? And I keep the milk until her tests come back, because the test was supposed to come back 4 hours later. It was around 4, so it was supposed to come back at 8. And she told them, can she please donate, pump, give me the milk, I keep it in the fridge, and when the results come back at 8 and she's okay, then I'll give the baby the milk. The nurses refused. She begged. It was very, very sad. They told her, you will get desperate. You're a mother. We'll walk out. Your baby will cry so much. You'll get desperate, and you'll give that baby that milk without waiting for the lady's results. So no, she cannot pump. We cannot have her milk until her results come back. I remember her telling me that the doctors told her, because her baby had taken glucose, I think, for about 3 days, and that was not good for the baby. They were telling her, you must get breast milk today. So she's like, Sharifah, I don't know what I'm going to do. My baby has not had milk in about 3 days, and I'm desperate. But you know what? There's nothing we can do. We just have to wait until tomorrow. So that meant that the whole day the baby wasn't going to have milk, and then the night too. So I had to leave. There was nothing we could do. I was checking my phone every minute. Not that I was scared that I was HIV positive or anything, but I was just waiting to see if she's going to text me and tell me, hey, the results came back, everything is okay, you can start pumping now. So I kept checking my phone, and around 9, she sent me the results. She's like, Sharifah, everything is okay, please start pumping if you can. So I didn't have a pump, of course. I tried pumping with all my kids, and it failed. It was so painful. So I just gave up. I called Tracy, I remember killing her. I'm like, oh, Tracy, my results are back and I'm fine. So I just need to look for a pump. That's what I have to do next. And she's like, no. We're going to take care of everything. We'll send you the pump, we'll send you the bags, we'll send you everything. All you have to do is pump and send. I'm like, oh, great. Next morning, she sends me the pump. And I'm like, I'm so excited. I was telling my husband over the phone that, hey, so now we have a baby. I need to learn how to pump. Oh, I thought it was easy, subhanAllah. It is hard. I hated it back in the day. But then this time, actually, let me take you back a little bit. When I called Tracy the first time, I asked her, do you have special pumps at the hospitals? Because I've used all these pumps on the market and they don't work for me. They're either too small, too tight, too painful. So I expected them to have some special pumps at the hospital that, you know, I would work with. And she's like, no, Sharifah, we use the normal pumps. And I'm like, oops, I'm dead. So she sends me the pump the next day, and it was like the normal pumps that I had tried in the past. And I'm like, Bismillah, let me do this. I tried, nothing. Tried again, nothing. It was too painful. That day, I only got 30 ml. And I remember sending Tracy a picture, so excited. And I'm like, Tracy, you won't believe I got 30 ml. I was so happy. And then she asked me, how was it? Was it painful? And I'm like, if I tell her it was painful, she might tell me to stop. So I'm like, oh no, it was very easy, easy peasy, no problems here. She's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. So we continued. I remember I sent that 30 ml to the hospital, and the mom was so happy. I don't think I've ever had anybody so happy for something so small. Like, I kept wondering, 30 ml and she's this happy? I couldn't believe it. Next day, I remember her calling me and telling me, hey, the milk worked, everything went so well, but you know, we're going to need more. And I'm like, how much more? As days went by, the baby had to be fed more milk. That meant I had to pump a little bit more than the 30 ml that was so exciting for me. So it required me to pump that 180 ml, the full bag. I had to do that. I couldn't. It was hard. So I tried to figure out ways of how I'm going to do it. I'm like, so if I don't feed my baby during the day, I could come back home with, you know, enough milk to pump. My baby is not so little, so don't feel sorry for her. She's 1 year and 8 months. So I would keep away from her during the day, come back home with, you know, a lot of milk, and I would pump. And I was so excited that day. I got about 100 ml. I sent Tracy a picture. I'm like, Tracy, you won't believe today I pumped 100 ml. And she was so happy. Tracy was happy. It's like, I told her I delivered a baby. She was so happy. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I think I can do this. So it went on like that. We would send it there, pump, send it, pump, send it. But I won't lie, it got frustrating at some point, because knowing that there is somebody out there who's relying on you to deliver. And then, you know, of course, life. I would have some bad days. Some days I would fail to pump. There was a day I only got 15 ml, and that was one of the worst days, because she had actually called me and told me we are out of milk and I need more. I need about 2 bags because the baby was growing. She was feeding so well, so it required more milk. So we had some bad days, but we pulled through. Being a donor means a lot, because I feel like there is so much joy in giving others joy. I've never found happiness in anything than being in service to others. Like, that is how I live my life. Nothing makes me happier. So being a donor, for me, it's everything. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I hope they can just get those special pumps that I imagine in my head. It would make things so easy for me. One thing I've come to learn is that you can never truly understand what the other person is going through until you're either in their shoes or you actually see it with your eyes. Like, I've heard about premature babies needing milk, but it never really sunk in that it's really a big deal until the day I went to that nursery. Like, you see about 30 kids in need, helpless, hopeless, mothers in tears, crying. I remember the recipient telling me that the day I couldn't give my baby milk, I went crazy, and I decided to go on Instagram, on the internet, and I kept telling myself, is there anywhere where they donate milk in Uganda? I'm just going to type the word, donating milk in Uganda, because I didn't know what else to do. I prayed about it, and then I typed, and guess who popped up? ATTA, breast milk community. And I'm like, is this for real? There is actually a donor bank in Uganda. She couldn't believe it. So imagine what that could do for somebody. Imagine what 120 ml could do, it could actually save a life. I would actually encourage people out there, you honestly lose nothing. Only a few minutes of your time to save a life. I don't think there is anything better than that. My hope or dream for ATTA in a year or so is for them to be able, inshallah, to have a donor milk bank at every hospital, because the work they are doing is out of this world. Imagine having a milk donor bank ready to go, and people don't actually have to type, look, beg for milk. It's just right there, every hospital, because every hospital needs this kind of service. That is my dream for ATTA, inshallah.